Well, in the words of the inimitable General Patton, I'm still here, you sons of bitches. Anyway, folks, it's good to be back. Frankly, I'm sure some of you thought I wouldn't get back. I didn't think I would make it back, but it was a squeaker. Only after I'd already made plans to come back here, because I figured I was pretty much done for the time being, that I found out there was a plan by a little group of generals to dust my shorts. So, oh well, it's the thought that counts. At any rate, we're reduced now because of, oh, let me see, let me take the titles down. We don't need that guy. There we go. Because our budget's been cut way back, and by some accounts, even couriers from some wealthy people who are pro-American, which are kind of in the minority. I mean, I'm not talking about wealthy. I mean, there's a lot of those, or most of them are pro-American. I'm talking about the ultra-rich. There are some billionaires who are pro-American, but they are not in really plentiful supply, I guess you'd say. This show will be airing 25 minutes on the first Friday of each month. It will rerun every Saturday at 4 in the afternoon, Tucson, Arizona time. We don't have daylight savings here, so you have to find out that what time it is in Tucson. This particular program tonight will air for the first time on the 17th of this month, however, because there's a one-week turnaround, and they didn't have a show from the first one I was supposed to do. I missed last month because of a personal emergency, which I won't go into right now. At any rate, you can go, people around the world can go to www.accesstucson.org and click on View Live while we're playing live or while we're rerunning, and see this program anywhere in the world. It is important that there are more of my original audience. A lot of them have faded away when they thought I was dead and gone, etc., etc. I mean, I don't blame them when they saw my website. I had to maintain what they call radio silence, you sort of, in the military. With the exception, I did have to release one or two things, but the guy, bless his heart, he's a young man raising children by himself, and I think he'd about to have a nervous breakdown any time you read anything I asked him to put up. Actually, a lot of times I just had to do it over the phone and then skedaddle, and I kind of jacked it up a little bit, but he got the basic things right. But how you say it is kind of more important than what you say most of the time, but at least those of you that know me well enough to look for the info, at any rate. But that's all passe now, although I have heard that there's a satanic element within the Catholic Church. By the way, you know that mafioso are all Catholic members, even though mafia, to be an official mafia member, you have to be Jewish. To be Mexican mafia, you have to be Sephardic or a Mexican Jew. That's okay, I've got nothing against Jews. They're the best of the best at being good, and they're the best at being bad. They're very capable people. So they excel at what they do as a class, and so it's no wonder that the mob has become so proficient and ever present. In any case, well, I guess you might say, I will try to make it worth your while. I definitely will make it worth your while, because I will release things that people, I don't know anyone else but Ron Paul that would say some of the things that I would say, but of course the media doesn't let him, if they accidentally don't edit enough out of what he says, they'll go back and change it, you know what I'm saying? But at any rate, he addresses a lot of the big issues. He's the only one with the guts that hasn't sold out. I mean, all these others. I really think the most important thing about these elections each year, each election, I mean to say, is that this expensive and arduous rigmarole is very, extremely, essentially important to preserving the illusion that it's not all prearranged from the get-go. What president was it that said, "Nothing happens in the world today that has not been planned carefully far in advance, even accidents and surprises and nuclear wars"? Multiple sources, insiders, and some government departments, some clandestine types, even some men of the cloth have come by information that all, from different perspectives at different times, it all kind of fits together too well, I'm afraid to say. Apparently, the corporate jerks that pull the financial purse strings of our politicians and who have merged with government, with the military, I should say. I mean, they pay the military generals more money than they're paid by the U.S., by the taxpayer, although not even there directly. But yeah, the corporations have merged with the military. So anyone that comes up with what's called unity or free energy, oh, it's no hoax. There's hundreds and hundreds of patents that were bought off or stolen, or people were killed to keep them off the market, or they're collecting dust in the patent department, all kinds of things. But you see, Rockefeller, Jay, I guess, is the last of the big Rockefeller kingpins. He and his seventh cousin, Lord Rothschild, in London, of the Rothschild Money Trust, who manages all the private banks, himself a big banker, who manages all the private banks that own what's called Federal Reserve Bank. They're given authority to type into a computer trillions of dollars, and then they lend it back to America as though it were ever theirs to lend. You see, in other words, each year our entire budget is given away to private bankers. Then on top of that, us gifting them that money, they then lend it back to us at ever compounding interest, such that there's no way to ever pay off the debt as long as we're paying interest. Fortunately, the Supreme Court ruled, along with the World Court, in the Nasara decision, they're lifting away a burden in Greek means, that well, in any case, the Twin Towers was brought down at precisely the moment that Alan Greenspan had been ordered by U.S. Special Forces under the direction of the Supreme Court, who had collected the resignation papers from President George Bush and all members of the House and the Senate, that there were going to be honest, open elections. Even an intermediate president had already been sworn into office, and we were going to have honest elections for the first time in a long time, and everyone was going to be out of debt. But you see, the globalists require tremendous debt on the part of subject peoples to control them. They intend, I'm told, to have debtors' prisons at some point, although no longer having the student loans to be included in bankruptcy. They'll say, when things really get bad, they'll say, well, if you go over and you die in Afghanistan for us, we'll forgive your student loan. Terrific. But basically, since, I figure, hey, it's no big deal. I mean, now I'm relegated to just spending the rest of my life alone. I mean, Susan was the only person that I could trust, and so I can't even have any friends. I must have informants here and there, but a lot of them have been killed too. But I'm still getting data, and some of the most important data, and I release it to you. But I need some of my audience back, so I get a little bit of protection by the fact that it'll draw suspicion if I'm knocked off right after telling you something really important. But since my stuff's kind of flaky because I don't have bodyguards or anything, I'm alone, and because I don't have much time on the air per month now, it's very important. The only other place I know that you can get uncensored news is on Coast to Coast AM. In Tucson, it plays on 790 AM. You can get a little Sony recorder like this, and it's got like 500 hours of recording time. You can set up a high quality or long play, or high, super high quality, or just standard play. But the batteries will last up to 55 hours of continuous. You try to get that on a regular tape recorder, eh? It's great. And there's even one for about 20 bucks more you can use to load up things on the internet, but I have no need for that.